Hi everyone, I'm Alex Wong, the creator of the Story of Community, and welcome to the Epilogue. Every Wednesday for the next 3 weeks, I'll be chatting with some of my fellow community podcasters about their experience as longtime community fans, which I, as someone who first watched the show in 2019, am not. Here with me once again are Adam from Apartment 303, Kevin from Advanced Community Studies, Alex from 6 Seasons in a Podcast, and Ed from Save Greendale Committee. And today we are talking about episode 5, 2013. We're getting up there in the years, where I tell the story of the return of Dan Harmon and some major cast shakeups. So the first question for today is, with Dan Harmon coming back after a year off, did you think that season 5 would rekindle the magic of seasons 1 through 3?
I was really hoping so. I just remember I was probably the only one of my friends who was really in the community at the time who stayed the entire way through season 4. So when season 5 came back, I was really re-pitching it to all of my friends to say no, it's the same. No, it's the same. Even though in my head it had never really gone away entirely. I still felt like a lot of the magic was there. But I did have hope. I mean, I felt like it was gonna just go right back to where it had kind of left off in season 3. So yeah, I had hope. I had a lot of hope.
Yeah, it seemed like it could only lead to good things. Like whether or not the show would reclaim its season 1 through 3 magic, and people have very different opinions about whether or not it did. I think season 5 and 6 are their own magic, while not trying to be what came before. But there was a lot of it could only lead to good things. Like when we had producer Neil Goldman on my show, he talked about Dan Harmon coming back made him the most powerful showrunner in Hollywood. That was he was yeah. No, Dan became suddenly the most powerful showrunner in television, which is bold in a world where Shonda Rhimes exists. But it still seemed like it was Titanic, and it would at least feel like Harmon Community again.
I just assumed that Dan was going to come back with his cookie wand and just a magic wand. He would wave it and everything would be exactly the same again. And that, what they had pitched in the opening song of season 3, that we were, in fact, finally going to be fine. I'd kept up with the buzz around, just all of the, oh boy, I lost the word for it. When rumors, that's it. Yeah. I just lost track in all of the rumors and followed it every day in an obsessive and kind of unhealthy way. And that's the first time I'd ever done that for a show. So for that all to have been worth it, I did very much want it to be just as magical as it was originally.
Yeah, I agree. I don't have a ton to add to that. You guys have captured it, but I think I'm a season 4 fan and an apologist. Check out upcoming episodes of the podcast to hear such things. But so I don't think there's this fall off from 3 to 4 to 4 to 5. So I thought Dan would do what he did and it would be great. But I always thought the show was great throughout all that.
I want you guys to give me everyone except for Adam, give me a thumbs up or a thumbs down for these couple of questions. I'm curious. Where are my questions? Okay. Would you have wanted season 5 if Dan didn't come back?
Thumbs up.
Definitely. Thumbs up.
And I suspect I already know the answer for most of you to this question, but now that you've seen it multiple times, had years removed from it, was the hatred towards season 4 warranted, or was it simply just a byproduct of it not being by Dan and Dino and that whole cavalry that left after season 3?
Yeah, I don't think it was warranted. I think it was a little more I understand why people were concerned and why it was a bad thing, but I think it was people didn't give it a chance, a fair shake at the time.
I mean, the simulation's already been run. You have Netflix playing the season 4, and you have all these new fans coming. And when you talk to these new fans, you don't hear the same vitriol towards season 4 that you do in older fans. Right? So the simulation's been run. Season 4 isn't as bad, and therefore we should just celebrate it as part of the canon. It's Dan doesn't own this whole thing. It's all of ours now, and so it's ours to appreciate for different reasons.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Even
As-
though
as a new fan, I'm
oh,
there.
sorry, go ahead.
I was just say as a new fan, yeah, agreed.
Yeah, even though like we just got done covering it on my show, and I do think it is like the least of the 6 seasons,
Sure.
but
I still agree
Community's
with that,
still
yeah.
Community. Like it's I don't know, like these actors are funny. Like Jim Rash is still on the show, so like how bad could it be?
Yep.
Donald
Yeah.
Glover's still there, so like no, it's pretty all right. It's pretty good.
Yeah, and to a point Kevin said earlier, I really feel like season 5 and 6 are kind of their own show. I feel like season 4 is in some ways its own show. I feel like season 1, 2, and 3 are all fairly different from each other, even though they're generally lumped in. And I think like, and what Alex said, like with him coming back, or Kevin's, one of you guys said this, with him coming back in season 5, he was incredibly powerful on the show. And when you go back to season 1, he wasn't the sole showrunner on that. And even though eventually he became that by the end of season 3, there was clearly a like Dan Harmon, completely Dan Harmon era that came when he came back. And before that was like, it was very collaborative. It wasn't just Dan's show. There were a lot of people working on it, and those were a lot of the people who stayed in season 4. So there is a continuity of voice through the whole show. And if anything, I would argue the break really comes from season 4 to 5, not from season 3 to 4, personally.
Okay, quick hitter time. I didn't realize that this was going to be a recurring segment, but I guess it's become one. How did you think Donald Glover was going to be sent off?
I was in total denial. I was just hoping that they were doing this meta thing where they were playing with our emotions and that he was actually going to stay and or come back. And I wanted that to be true. I didn't see it coming the way that it did.
Yeah, I agree. I was in full denial. And to be honest, at the time, I kind of stopped watching. Like, I didn't watch season 6 at all the year it aired. I watched it like sometime after. And I think that was true for, I don't know, I maybe at the time watched the end of season 5, but I had like kind of checked out emotionally after Donald Glover left. And it really was, I think, because I never prepared myself for it, even though I knew it was coming.
Yeah, it was this mystery. Like my only hope was like, okay, I hope they pay off this, like, because I think Troy probably has the best, most cohesive arc of all the characters. And I was like, I hope that we just like continue on this path of like quote unquote manhood that we've set him on, right? So at the end he can bathe in manhood. And that we can send him off. I did not foresee, a boat with LeVar Burton. I don't think anyone possibly could have, but it was great to see this sent off. And I think a lot of people, for like Ed was talking about, the Donald Glover leaving thing was perhaps just like, if you had followed the show rabidly for years, this was just like, you got shot with a nail gun after everything. It's like, oh, come on. And then like, oh, the show's canceled and it's moving to Yahoo Screen. Like, I think a lot of people were just like exhausted if they had followed this show for years. And that's understandable. I can't blame anybody for that.
I want a thumbs up, thumbs down here. Were you optimistic about having Jonathan Banks and John Oliver sort of, not sub in, because that's a misuse of the term, but sort of act as that kind of replacement?
Thumbs up.
That was my first time seeing Jonathan Banks in something. So when I then watched Breaking Bad, I was like, oh, I get it now.
Oh,
Yeah,
the
it is
cop
weird.
from Gremlins is going to be a cast member of Community? It's wild.
It doesn't seem like right at first, but then the more you think about it, the more right it seems, right? That you have this guy who's survived.
Well, he was
and
really
survived in a lot of places.
Yeah, and he was really coming in, I think, to replace Pierce in a lot of ways. And I think that was they found a way to have an old guy in there, but not have it be another Pierce. So I think that works.
Yeah.
totally different energy. And right, this is the height of like Breaking Bad fame, you know, like we're in like Breaking Bad season 4 or 5 at this point, so like Banks was a hot commodity.
We gotta have Banks.
We gotta get Banks in this picture.
Well, I think he didn't come back for 6 because of Saul, right? Like I think
exactly.
he got the call to be on Saul, and then he left.
Saul called him and he said yes, and he left, and I think it was the best choice for everyone.
Yeah, probably.
Because then we get like Keith David, and he gets to go be on Better Call Saul, a show he's probably ultimately better suited to. Even though I like Hickey, it was probably a good call for everybody.
And on that note, talking about season 6, that's going to do it for this episode of the Epilogue. I think my transitions they're not getting any better. Thank you to Adam, Kevin, Alex, and Ed for joining me. As always, you can find links to their podcasts at bit.ly/thestoryofcommunity. Thank you to you all for listening to the episode. And I'll be back next week with talk about episode 6, 2014. I think I got that right. Hope you enjoyed the episode, and I'll see you then.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Cool.